Dave, the Great Plains Turbo Max 1500 behind us here. Tell me a little bit about the vertical tillage. I was asking you some questions off camera about that, and it was a really interesting explanation that you had, and I thought it would be pertinent to put it on camera. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so the way that the vertical tillage works, it's not your conventional tillage. So your conventional tillage being speed tillers, offset discs, are curved and they push the soil horizontally. So they're scraping this bottom of the ground, and that can create a bit of a hard pan or hard pack. The way that these Turbo Max works a little bit differently. So with the curved discs on the front, so your spades on the front, what it does is cuts into the soil and lifts it vertically. So it reduces the scraping effect on the bottom and creating hard pans on the bottom, and creating density layers in the soil, which then reduce moisture penetration or germination affecting as well when your seeds can't germinate and penetrate that hard pack in the soil.
So I noticed a couple of different stages on the machine. So there's the spades and then there's what's the next part?
Yeah, so behind the vertical discs, which we've got 2 rows on the front, behind that is a rotary harrow as well. So instead of like a drag or your fingers to level the ground out, there is a rotary harrow on the back. All that does is to help finish the soil and give you a nice smooth finish for seeding work as well.
And the final stage at the back is the compaction. So
Correct.
We're moving the soil vertically like that. The harrow is like getting it going, and then we're compacting it down so not all the moisture is going to escape. Is that right?
Correct, yeah. So we've got a cage type roller on the back which can perform 2 different tasks. So after it's leveled with your rotary harrow on the back, your roller can then in 2 different directions. So in forward direction, it'll help chop up any clumps that have been created whilst working the soil. So it'll help break it up and give you a finer seed bed. Or the other direction, if you turn the roller in reverse, it'll help pack the soil down a little bit harder to reduce any moisture loss out of the soil, just to retain that moisture a little bit better.
So can I control through the hydraulics how much pressure is pushed on that compaction at the rear?
Yeah, definitely. So you'll see on the back of this machine, there's a gauge that is hydraulically changed. So there is a spring tension on the back as well to allow it to move, but you can hydraulically put more pressure or reduce the pressure that roller's creating on the back, definitely.
So when you don't have vertical tillage, what type of tillage is it when it's pushing out to the side? What's that called?
So that's just traditional,
Standard.
conventional ploughing, which again, like I said, is offsets or speed discs, which are just horizontally moving the soil through.
So one of the things I wanted to catch on camera, which I think is really important, I was asking, when you're pushing the soil to the side in traditional tillage and you don't have the harrow there, aren't you just pushing everything out of the way? If you're trying to do it on the grass that we've got here, for instance, it's all going to get hooked up in the machine.
Yeah, so if you're trying to move that soil without any sort of finishing tools on the back of your machine, it's definitely going to leave ruts and gutters. So that's where, especially if you're on hills and slopes, you get heavy downpour of rain, it's going to cause erosions and washouts through your paddocks, and also not giving you a really good seed bed if you're coming through and seeding your machines after, giving nice level, even germination through the paddock.
So it's really important that you've got the harrow and you've got the compaction at the end of it with the vertical tillage, so it's not all washing away and evaporating there.
100%. At the end of the day, it's only as good as the finishing tools on the back of the attachments that you're running.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
And in terms of hydraulics and PTO, and what do we need to put this attachment on the machines that farmers are working with?
Yeah, so this machine, this vertical tillage machine being trailing, it doesn't run any PTOs, but it is going to run hydraulic lines to be able to make any adjustments to the machine. So this particular unit needs 4 sets of remotes, lifting the wheels, changing your down pressure, or also changing the angle as well. So there's a few different features that you need. This particular one needs four hydraulic remotes to run this machine.
And I noticed that there's the hydraulics here in the middle of the machine that you're referring to. Is that about the down pressure that you're talking about?
So that's about so the ones in the center here over the wheels are to do with the actual height,
right,
that you're going to be working. So this machine can work up to 5 inches in depth, but that's just controlling your working depth. Your other remote hydraulic, so ram on the front, is to keep the machine level. So depending on the drawbar height of whatever tractor that you're running, just to keep the machine nice and level so it's working properly. The third remote is the vertical discs at the front, changing the angle and aggression of soil movement. Fourth one for hydraulic remote is that roller on the back to change the pressure that you're putting on the soil. So they're your 4 remotes.
I noticed there's a couple of controls on the outside of the machine that enable you to do that. Can you do that from the inside of your tractor as well?
Correct, yeah. So all of these movements can be done on the go in the tractor without having to get out and make any adjustments. So you can make adjustments on the go while you're working if you need to.
So you mentioned before, and I kind of laughed about it, and you were kind of kicking the ground about it. You said in the past when you've had to do tillage, you've had to get in and out of the tractor a dozen times an hour to clear out the blockages or anything like that. That's not going to happen on this machine at all, is it?
No. So with this disc machine, it's going to cut.
That's a big call. I want to make sure.
Yeah, 100%. So the biggest issue, especially I've had, and I know a lot of people have, is any tined implements blocking up with all your residue that's on the surface. So definitely a benefit of your Turbo Max with your discs on the front is going to cut that residue. It's not going to drag it like a big rake through the paddock and it's just going to block up on you. It's actually going to cut all of that residue before it gets through to anything that's going to block up. So even if you're seeding with a tined machine and you want to run through with vertical tillage, so if you're a no-till application, this isn't going to harm any of those soil density layers you've got. It's just going to add an extra benefit. So it's going to cut that residue up into sort of 3 3/4 lengths material. So you don't have big long stalks or grass that are going to block up and cause those headaches and issues, jumping in and out of the tractor, cursing and swearing at it all day.
Sounds like you're remembering it fondly.
Yeah, mate, it's one of those things that I do not enjoy doing.
Right, yeah, it's just getting in and out.
In and out of the tractor is just,
it's killing
nothing worse.
So can you put a seeder on it?
Yes, so these particular units, you can. We've got a couple of folding units that fold too narrow to fit a seeder on top. But there's 3 to 4 different ranges of this vertical tillage that you can fit an air seeder on top. So it's like a broadcast seeder. Just going to throw the seed out behind the disc after you work, and then it's going to get harrowed and rolled in just to give it nice soil to seed contact for germination.
So you're getting like really 3 for the price of 1. You're getting the tillage, the seeding, and the compaction all at once.
Yeah, so it's a one-tool machine that can do all of the work for you. Whether that's overseeding just a cover crop through autumn seasons or something as well, absolutely able to do a variety of different tasks for you.
Is there anything else that I need to know about this machine that I haven't asked you about? We're full of these newbie questions.
Yeah. I don't think so. I think we've covered the frequently asked questions on the machine. I just think one of the benefits of this machine really is not creating those density layers in your soil, and then the really downfall of those density layers or hard pack is at that point in time, then you need another tool, whether that's a subsoiler or some sort of deep ripper, to come through and take that density layer out and improve those soil conditions. Whereas if we can control that from the start, it's one less job or task that you need an implement for or you've got to complete.
So just to make sure I've fully understood that's because in traditional tillage it's moving to the side and it's creating that compaction there as well, but the vertical tillage is not creating that slide like that to create the compaction.
Correct, it's not creating that shear point of moving the soil horizontally. So that shearing point moving the soil horizontally over time is what's going to create those different density layers through the soil, where this is just lifting it vertically without having any of that shear point in your soil.
Makes sense. All right, Dave, thanks for answering all the questions. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've got any more questions about the Great Plains Turbo Max 1500 or any other implements that we sell here at Australian Hammer Supplies, just reach out and let us know. All the details are in the description below.